and welcome to a new session of web application design using Flask. So we are getting step by step into the Flask, and now today we are going to make use of a request object, and with the help of that the communication between HTML page to Python and Python to HTML will be established. So this is a sequence, a series of communication kind of thing will be creating here in this particular session of Flask. So we already seen one of the code, but this code will be comprehensive, which will be using a Flask file, a Python file in Flask as an interface between two HTML pages to transfer the data from one HTML to another HTML. But this is how we can create a dynamic communication and a programming interface between multiple HTML pages. So let's see how to do this one. Okay, so we are doing these things with the help of a request object. Okay, so the request object we already seen, which is the data from the client's web page is sent to the server as a global request object. When we are creating any user interface with the help of HTML, we use some text controls, we use HTML radio buttons, checkboxes, and that information we have to pass from the client side, from an HTML page to the server side, and that information is stored inside the request object. So in order to process the request data, it should be imported from the Flask module, and that request object internally contains few important things which are listed over here. The first thing is form. In the request object, form is a dictionary object containing the key and value pairs of form parameter and their values. Whatever information you pass from HTML page in the form of form, that contains many different controls, and that controls are assigned with a variable, and that variable will contain a value that user put inside it. And that information is stored inside the dictionary object called as form. Okay, so inside from that particular form we'll be taking the information in the form of a key value pairs. We already seen this, we'll revise that content. Then second is args. Okay, what it contains? It contains the past content of a query string, which is a part of URL after the question mark. You might have seen that when you pass some information in the text boxes, that information will pass through URL parsing, like it will go to the URL on the top, and by using question mark parameter, that information will be passed to the client to the server. That if you want to extract, we will be making use of the args. Next, cookies. So cookies is also a dictionary object holding the cookie names and the values. In upcoming sessions, we'll talk about the cookies, what do you mean by cookie and how to handle that. Then files. When client want to send a file from client side to the server side, that also will be saved inside the attribute file. We'll see that one also in the upcoming session. And the last is method. By which method you send the data from the client side to the server side. Either get method or the post method will be used there. So whatever method you apply, that you can extract with the help of the parameter method over here. So with this we perform the operation. We are making use of 2-3 parameters out of it. Remaining parameter we'll see in the upcoming session one by one. So to establish a dynamic communication between the client and server with the help of a Flask, this session will become so much useful. So try to understand and create the concept. So let's see how we are going to do this one. Our main topic will be focusing on the HTML page when you send the data. Let's see how to create this particular concept. Check this. So this kind of connection will be creating here. So we'll take the user input data, okay, then will be processed and then generated as the output data. So the thing is that user input is in HTML format and output is also in HTML format. Here we'll be running a server, a Flask server, where the Python code is running and will be acting as an interface. Any kind of processing this Python file will do. You have to decide what sort of processing you have to do there. Okay, so this is the client side. It's also client side, which is given as output and input. So processing is done on server side. Here we have Python code will run. So this kind of connection we will be creating over here. So you just have to perform your logic, apply your logic to do any kind of processing over here. Remember that. So let's start with the first HTML file, then Python file, and then we'll go for the HTML file which is running on the client side. Okay. So let's open the editor. Okay. And here we'll create the first file, which is we call as a student.html, for example. Okay, so let's store that student.html. Okay, and here we'll create a form. Okay, where let's give some title to this, the student information. Okay, and in the body we'll create the form, okay, where we'll be having an action. So where to forward the request, so we'll specify that request forwarding to the localhost colon 5000, and here your content or your data, your page will be there. So just like page name, you are given index, okay, and then we apply the method is post. Okay, so we'll forwarding using the post method here. Okay, so your form is completed, and then now let's go one by one. Let's create the paragraphs. So it will be okay, easy to handle it. Sorry, yeah. In every paragraph, we'll put some kind of information, and at the end, we'll have a submit button. That submit button will submit the information to the index page over here. Okay, that's it. Okay, so first of all, we'll ask for the student name. Okay, so we'll ask for the student name, which is of input type is text. Okay, so we type it text, and we'll assign some variable name to it. Okay, so we'll assign some variable name to it. It's just like S name. Okay, that is student name. Fine. Then let's copy it and add one more control there. Student name. Then we'll have a class. Okay, so class is also text. We'll assign it as a text class. Okay. Then we'll have the marks. Okay, so any kind of control you can put there. Marks is a number. Okay, marks. Okay, one more control we will add it here, like age. Okay, and its variable name is age. So this information will go into form. Remember that. And finally, we'll have a submit button. Okay, so here we'll have a submit button. Don't give any name to it. Input type will be submit. When you click on that button, we'll go there. Okay, we'll not assign any name, but we'll assign a value to it. Okay, so value is okay. We'll write submit there. Fine. Yeah. So our HTML code is completed. When I click on the submit button, whatever information is present will pass to through request object to this particular link over here. Okay, so let's see the page first. So I'll just open that by using my Firefox web browser. You can use any other web browser also. So check this out. How the form is looking like. Is there any changes required? And you just can design by your own ideas also. It's not required to have in the same way. Check it out. So here I'll write my student name, then class, then marks, then age, and submit. So when submitted, we'll go to this particular page. So we have to write this particular page here, and then it will use that information. This is a client side script, and when you click on that, we'll go to server side. Okay, so we have to write the server side script, which is index, and it will take that data and forward that data to another HTML page, and will be stored in the perfect fashion there. Okay, getting it? So create a new file, which will be your index.py file. Okay, fine. So let's start. Okay, so we require this. Even we require to render the template also. Even we require the request object also. Okay, create the checked. Okay. Okay, execute it. Yeah. Now the first decorator we create. Okay. First decorator we create for the basic root. Okay, so when you open the root, that time your student.html page should get open, correct? So define the index page here, okay, and then return render template. What you have to render? Student dot html. So this template should be rendered, but make sure that this should be stored into the templates.html templates folder, sorry. Okay, so if I am using a root, it should forward to student.html by default. Okay, now the second method, when I am opening the index, that time it will take that data and perform the operations. I have given the index now in the HTML page. So let's have a root of index, correct, and let's define one method here like show. Okay, now here we'll be making use of request object. So here request object is imported. Inside that all the form parameters are saved. So let's check that whether information is sent using request method or not. Okay, so let's use whether use any method like post. Okay, if you are saying use the method post, then in a variable, in any kind of the variable like data variable, I will store the information sent using the request object. So that information is stored into form object, as we have seen in the presentation also. Okay, it is receiving that information from the form. Form is a dictionary, and that dictionary will be saved in another variable. Data will be a dictionary variable now, and will forward this information to, we can make the changes inside it. I will show how to make the changes. We will make the changes, and after that we will forward that information to the output. Okay, let's see the common operation first. Render the template to another file, like for example we will be having another file like output.html. okay, output.html, and where we pass this information, data is equal to data. Okay, or we will have the variable name here info, and data is our variable. Data is our variable that I am passing to info keyword argument, and that will go in keyword that will go into HTML file with info name, and we can extract it there one by one. Fine. So in this way we'll forward the request. Okay, so index.py file is this, where you have, when you set for the index, it will call that and forward that information to output.html page. Okay, which is not created yet, will create it. Okay, so I think the things are done completely, and let's go for the final page, that is output.html. So let's copy it. Just we need to focus on this part. We have created this file, we got that data, will forward it here. Here also we received the data, and now we'll forward that to output.html here. So create one more file whose name is output.html. check it out, and we have to save that in templates folder. Okay, save. Yeah. Output.html, and now here we'll create an HTML page. Okay, let's give some title also. Your information is, okay, that will be the title, and now inside the body we'll create a table. Okay, so let's create a table with some border like 2. Okay, and in this, yeah, so as like we have already seen, we'll be making use of the for loop, and with the help of that information we'll be putting into individual rows. Okay, so let's try that. For key comma value in, what data we received? Info. We have seen that info dot items, it will read that items one by one. Okay, so it will read that, and now after this, sorry, it's showing error here. Yeah, now so let's write the rows, tr the first rows. Okay, and we'll end at tr here. Okay, and inside that individual element will add. The first element that we will be adding is the key, and second element that we will be adding is the value. Okay, so here we will add the key, and here we will add the value. Okay, key and values are taken. Okay, its row is completed, and here will end the for. Fine. Correct. Yeah. So from these items, it returns the key and values separately. So I am taking that key here, printing, value also printing in front of it, and this table will be satisfied. So this I will be taking information. So here I will pass the information from all of these from here to index file. Okay, so we will go to index. In index, we will check whether post method is sent. Post method is used here. Then take that form information into variable data and pass that variable to the info. Here we are allowed to make any kind of changes here. Remember that. So we will make some changes and then we will forward to output.html. Output.html will take that information into variable info, and then we are making use of a table to print that information on the screen. That's it. That's what we have done. But you need to run this particular file first. So Python file should be running continuously. Start debugging. So let's check it. Okay. Yeah. So our code is running. Fine. Code is running. Okay. So one thing that we need to remember that student.html file should be present in the templates folder. So I am putting in templates folder. So HTML file should be in the templates folder. Then only it will perfectly run there. So let's run localhost :5000. Yeah, fine. First file is got. We have received the first file here, localhost :550000. Okay, and now it is asking for the information. This is student.html actually, which is called by the root, common root only. Okay, when I call the root, it is calling this method, this HTML file here. Okay, so let's see this dit. Then marks are 78, age is 25. Submit. Okay, method not allowed. Method is not allowed in the requested URL. So let's see what changes are required. Okay, so it's showing error. So let's rectify what error is there. See, when I'm checking a post here, so this particular route, okay, so it should allowed with the method. So which method it should contains, that we have to specify over here. Methods is equal to, so in the list of methods which it can get the data, so I'll apply the get and post. Okay, so these two methods are allowed here to get the information. Fine. So let's stop it and run it again. Now let's see what happens. Yeah, it's running with the post method allowed to it, and yeah, running now. So let's go to the base again. Okay, it's getting information correctly. Not given any dot. Okay, submit. Yeah, getting it. See this now. Localhost :5000/index. It is called and information is passed, s name, then class, marks and age. All that information received from HTML page, I got the information over here also as it is. Check it out. That information is passed and received over here. Now if I want to make some changes, like I want to change the marks, so what I'll do? Okay, so let's see how to do this one. See, so here I got that data, fine, and inside the data of, like it contains the marks variable there, is equal to data of marks. Okay, I want the extra marks given 1.5. okay, I want to assign 1.5 extra marks to the particular person. So let's use this. It's a dictionary, it contains that variable 1.5 will be added. Okay, so data of marks is equal to data of marks plus 1.5. So if I am putting 67, it will become 68.5. Okay, grace is given by the server. So server is modifying that data and then forwarding it to the output variable here, like info. Fine. So data is assigned to info. I am assigning extra 1.5 marks to the particular person, and let's see. This is how we can handle the data. We can make some modification. We can do some processing on the server side. Okay, so let's say this, just go to the home again. Okay, run it. Yeah, now execute that. For example, I've given the marks 50. Okay, so it will be easy to recognize. 26, submit. Okay, so now check it out. The internal encountered an internal server was unable to complete a request. Either server is overloaded or there is an error in the application. So let's see that what is the error present. So let's open the code and check what exactly the problem is. So see this one, I just want to clear a few things. The data that you extract from the request, it is a specific object format. It is immutable dictionary format. See this one, immutable multi-dictionary format, and the value that is stored in front of it is in string format always. So what we have to do, we have to convert that into dictionary. Immutable means you can't change it. General dictionary is mutable, you can change that one. So how to do this one? So let's see. Convert that with the help of a dictionary function into dictionary format like this. So data will be now dictionary, and then we'll be adding the 1.5 into the marks and then perform it. So I'm converting that into mutable dictionary format from the immutable dictionary format. Let's see how exactly now works or not. So I'm adding marks to 1.5 and then see what is actually happening. Okay, so let's run. Okay, yeah, it's running. Refresh it. Yeah, still internal server error is there. So let's make a few more changes. I'll just stop it again and now check it out. This data I will convert into the floating point format. Okay, marks in floating point format, and then add 1.5 into it, and then I will replace it. Okay, convert into floating point format and then add, because it is in string format, we typecast it to floating point format and then add 1.5 to the respective marks. Okay, and now we'll try it. Let's run it again. Yeah, it's running. Refresh it. Same marks I've given 50, age 26, submit. Yeah, now see this one, I got the marks 51.5. So this is how the processing of the data can be done on the server side. You just make the changes and act as an interface between multiple HTML files. Okay, in this way you can do this operation. Check it out what I have done. I'll just revise it again. Here I'm got the dictionary from request.form in dictionary format, and then we have made some changes. I've added the grace marks to it. So you are allowed to do any kind of operation on server side. Based on that, the response are provided. So this is the response. Okay, remember this is the request. Index is a request. You are taking index.html as request and output.html as a response. So in this way, we can have the communication in the form of request and response object. So we just revise the things again. See this one. We take the data of student in HTML file. Then we have received in Python. We have forwarded that data HTML format by adding the grace marks over here. So you are allowed to do any kind of processing here in the Python file, and based on that you are allowed to generate your data as per the received HTML file user input there. So you just use your logic, use your own methodology and create this kind of applications of client and server communication in Flask. Thank you.